Welcome to the Florida chapter of Society of Government Meeting Professionals. That's the first announcement I'd like to make for anyone who is just joining us. We were Florida Capital Chapter and we are officially Florida Chapter. So Central Florida has merged with us and we are one big chapter now covering the entire state of Florida. So big announcement. Another big announcement is we are planning an education day. It is tentatively May 13th, but we just had a discussion tonight and we're hoping we can push it back a little later to allow more notice for people. It will be at Howie in the Hills in at the Mission Inn, which is a lovely property. It'll be a day of education, including Len Milbauer, a Disney speaker who is phenomenal. So we are working on that and should have some information no later than tomorrow to everybody if we do adjust the date. So, so I did want to quickly just kind of go around and have everyone introduce themselves. And why don't I'm gonna call people out. You're not ready yet, so let's see. Dr. Moran, before I know you need to head to another meeting, so do you mind if I call on you first? Tell us what
Absolutely.
you do.
Definitely good to be here. I had an opportunity to speak with Renee while you guys were snacking, but but I am James Moran. I am the director of alumni engagement, Florida A&M University College of Pharmacy, and past president, I think back in 2010. Yeah, 2010 to 2012, I believe. It's definitely good to be here.
All right. Thank you. Let's go to Janet.
Got me before with my mouth full. I'm Janet Roach. I'm with Visit Tallahassee, and I'm happy to be here. And I am currently the second vice president for the chapter.
Let's go to Stephen. Can you turn your camera on by any chance? Anyone who's still here? Hi, Stephen. Unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, my computer's gone kaput, so I'm a weird angle on my phone. But Stephen Hall, immediate past president, and work with the state court system, helping do some meeting planning, procurement, and other functions.
Thank you. Let's go to Rose. Rose, unmute yourself.
No, I shall not unmute myself. So y'all didn't hear any of that. I'm Rose Patterson. I work with Stephen in the Office of State Courts Administrator.
All right. Thank you for being here.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's go to Latrell.
Hello, everyone. My name is Latrell Hardwick, and I am working for myself as a public adjuster. Was there anything else you want to know? I'm Gemini. I like walks and beach. Wish I was there with you guys to eat.
Yes, you're in Jacksonville, right? Are you in
Yes, I'm in
Jacksonville?
Jacksonville,
Are you
Florida.
traveling right now?
Nope, not at the moment. Thank goodness.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Let's go to Tammy next. Tammy, if you can turn, yes. I saw a little blip of you. Thank you.
Hopefully it's a little whip. My name is Tammy. Renee, I spoke to you earlier. I am the Senior Administrative and Special Events Coordinator with the Florida Virtual Campus that is also under Florida State University. So it's nice to meet you and nice to be here.
Thank you very much. Colleen, are you still with us?
Hi, good evening. My name is Colleen Flagey. I'm the Executive Events Director for the University of Florida.
Thanks for being here. All right. Did I miss anyone? Reenee. Say hello, and then we'll give you a proper introduction before we begin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Reenee Williams-Walter. I am the Rapid Response Coordinator for Career Source Capital Region.
And she's also phenomenal. Okay, just phenomenal. So, all right. On that note, I think I didn't miss anyone, correct? So let me just tell you a little bit about our speaker tonight. First off, Reenee Williams-Walter is an accomplished professional with over a decade of experience with event planning, PR, sales, workforce development. And she already told you what she currently does, but in that role, she partners with businesses to proactively develop strategies that mitigate employee layoffs and prevent business closures. She's known as the Plug, an acronym that stands for Partner Leverage for Ultimate Growth. I made up something last time that was so clever instead, and I don't.
I wish I could have remembered it.
No, it was so good too. And she messaged me after, like, that was really good. Can you tell me what it was? I'm like, I have no idea what I said, but it was really good. But I'm gonna say something like providing leadership under grace. You know, there's definitely grace with Reenee. She is an innovator. She is a survivor. She is all the things. She was also named one of 25 women you need to know. So welcome to the club there. Okay. She's a current member of Leadership Tallahassee Class 42. She also graduated from my Leadership Academy for Professionals. What year was that? Do you remember?
I believe it was 2016 because that was with Amber.
Okay. Wow. And so her resilience is amazing. And I'm not going to share with you all the resilience in her life. You're going to hear that in her session tonight. But I'll tell you, outside of her career, which is amazing, Reenee is a mentee of mine. She's somebody who I have so much respect for. She is a family person who loves traveling. She's involved in the ministry. She loves cooking, gardening, and even whitewater rafting. She is a change agent, and she really likes to guide the next generation of leaders toward success. So her unique blend of expertise, passion, and leadership makes her a true force for positive change, personally and professionally. Without further ado, Reenee Williams-Walter, thank you for being our speaker tonight.
Yay, thank you so much, Dr. G, for having me as always. Everyone can see the screen okay? Perfect. So, and everyone can hear me okay? Perfect. So I've got some different cameras set up because I like to look at people's facial expressions. So if you see me looking off or calling on people, I like to make this a little bit interactive. There will be moments when I might call on you. So hopefully you guys will be responsive and chime in and answer. So without further ado, let us begin. I want you to think about something. What is a miracle? And I'm going to switch this right here so I can see you guys. And you can still see the screen with me seeing you all now? Perfect. Okay. So what is a miracle? Oxford Language defines a miracle as a highly improbable or extraordinary event, an act of unexplained nature or science that is now considered a work of divine agency. And my screen's not switching there. Do you see the slideshow switching? No? No?
Nope, we're still on the Soaring with Purpose slide. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Sorry, I've got to figure out how this worked. It worked okay perfectly. So anyways, we know what the definition of a miracle is now. Well, on January 15th, 2009, a miracle happened. A plane whose engine had been fried by a flock of geese gracefully glided through the sky and landed not under, but on top of the Hudson River. I was one of the passengers on that plane. And I can remember it so clearly. My senses heightened. I could hear the engine malfunctioning. I could smell the smoke. I could see the flames literally directly outside my window. And I could feel in both hands to the left and right of me, the passengers squeezing them so tight, gripping them so hard. All I could do was speak and say the prayer of Jabez. And then all of a sudden we heard Captain Sully, brace for impact. Brace for impact, I'm saying to myself and to the stewardess who's frantically trying to button her seatbelt. What does that mean? What does that mean? I shouted. She's like, head down, head down.
Uh-oh. Did you just freeze up, Reenee?
You did.
Impact, and The water immediately
Reenee, we heard
give you.
Reenee.
But they do teach you there's a life jacket underneath.
Reenee.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you locked up for a minute. Why don't you try, it sounds like your internet may be unstable. Turn your camera off for a bit and
Okay.
see if that doesn't help. We heard head down and then we didn't hear you.
Oh no, can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm such an interactive person, so I'm moving all over the place in here. So you heard head down, right? And so that's what the stewardess told me after. She's like, head down, head down. Immediately after that, the impact occurred and the water rushed in over our feet. They don't usually tell you how you're going to experience this when you do experience what I just experienced. But what they do tell you during that safety speech on the plane is that there's a life jacket under your seat. After that impact, all I started yelling was, grab your life jacket, grab your life jacket. After I grabbed my life jacket, we headed from 24E to the back plane door, to be specific. But the passengers who were there before us just couldn't get the door open. So leveraging each other, we pushed as a team only to realize that the water was now to my knees and the door still wasn't opening. At that moment, the water's now to my thigh and I'm still at the back of the plane. So I have to leave it. At this point, it's every person for themselves. I traveled from the back of the plane to 12E, the first wing, only to be told when I got there, there's no room for me. Keep going. I turned around and I just froze for a bit because the water was now up to my hips and I was still in this plane. Suddenly though, a calmness came over me and I can still hear the voice. Reenee, if you make it out of this plane, you'll be okay. There was nobody around me though, but I know my spirituality knew that I had angels camped around me. So with my confidence renewed, I hiked up my pants and I climbed over 12 seats because the complete aisle was filled with debris. So from 12E all the way to 1C, the front of the plane, the water was now to my chest. I wish I could turn my camera on so you could see where I'm pointing at. To my chest, the water was at. And I pulled myself out the door. The sun, man, the sun felt like a kiss on my face. And those words were, if you make it out of this plane, you'll be okay. That's what I thought to myself. And then at that moment, everything that my family always told me resonated in my head, and that I have a purpose in life. We all do, including you. That's Rose, Dr. Moran, all of you have a purpose in life. So throughout this journey today, I want you to think about and eventually be able to answer, what is my purpose? And our purpose may ebb and flow, but understanding that your purpose during those various moments, personal and professional, is the key to shaping us as individuals. So as I developed this talk, I kept reminiscing about us gliding, us moving downward, right? I already had the partner leverage piece, partner leverage for ultimate growth developed. So then I started to think about, at what point did I really begin to soar? What point was that? And this is how this presentation and workshop developed. The plug, partner leverage for ultimate growth. Dr. Gabrielle, can you see me if I turn this camera on and maybe it doesn't block it as much?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll switch to that one then. That way you can still see me.
Well, now you just went away. You popped up for a second and then you went away.
Let me try it one more time.
Go
just because
ahead and try turning your video back on your primary, the one that you're speaking on. Yeah, just try that again. It's possible you just had a little internet hiccup.
Okay, so we see the screen, partner leverage for ultimate growth. I want to tell you this brief story. You see, I learned at an early age, after losing my mother to breast cancer, that life is fragile and that neither you nor I can change the past or control the future, right? But what we can do is prepare ourselves and work in the present. And although it took some time, I began to understand that every interaction is an opportunity for growth. And I really have to stress that every interaction is an opportunity for growth. And despite what some may think, guess what, you guys? You're not in this journey alone. And our paths are all intertwined with those around us. And together, I have to emphasize that, together, we have the power to overcome even the greatest challenges. That moment in my life made me realize there's so much more still for me to do. And there's so many more people for me to help. And that leads me to the breakdown of the plug, right? Partner leverage for ultimate growth. Now, when we think of partner leverage for ultimate growth, we have to begin with the P. Who are your partners? And I was trying to take notes of some of the businesses that were on this call. I wrote down UF, FAMU, the Florida Judicial Circuit of Courts, even with, the Leadership Academy and SGMP, I believe their initials are here. I think about this. Partners can be both internal and external, right? For me on that plane, my partners became those passengers striving to push that back door open. But now professionally, and after being introduced to all of you, my partners are all of you that are on this call right now. I think about how true partners, they enhance each other's resources. So when you're out and about at networking events, even when you see me out at networking events, I'm not just taking people's cards just to collect them. I'm taking it because I see a potential partner in that person. And we should all be seeing potential partners in everyone that we meet. That partner might not be able to be utilized now. It might be something for later on, but at least we're seeing where this person might fit in my life down the line. I believe that true partners understand and value each partner's individual contribution. So I want to ask you a question. So for me, there are three things a successful partnership requires. And I just want to call on hands, look at my phone really quick so I can see the screen. What might be a successful partnership? If someone wants to just shout it out, you can unmute yourself.
A strong relationship.
Strong relationship. Anybody else? What's a partnership, a partner look like to you?
Collaboration.
Collaboration, yes. Anybody else want to chime in?
Trust.
Yes, literally. Those are amazing. Strong communication, collaboration, trust, right? For me, and in my terms, it's almost the same thing that you all just said, right? I think about credibility. I think about reliability and a willingness to refer. Now, my second question to you, when we think about a partner, can partners be bad? I gotta look to see if the face is on this. Can partners sometimes be bad?
Yes.
Yes, of course they can. And guess what? That's okay. And that's ultimately where communication comes into play, right? And that's something as we're developing as leaders and we're continuing on this professional journey, even in our personal life, understanding that sometimes we might not agree. I've not been, and I can admit this, I've not been the best partner before. I know, surprise. But that's because when I was doing what I thought was a good partnership, I was only looking at what I could get out of the situation. And the other person in exchange, they were also looking at what they could get out of the situation. So between the two of us, we are quote unquote partners. However, we're both looking at what we can get out of the situations instead of what can mutually benefit us. We didn't understand at the time the benefit of each other. I understood my benefit, right? But I didn't understand how they could benefit me. They didn't understand how I could benefit them. So at the end of the day, the partnership, quote unquote, just didn't work because we were only focusing on how we can benefit ourselves. When being a partner, it's important that we present the benefit and not just the feature. And I love this. I took a course a few years ago. And one of the things that always brought out is like the difference between a benefit and a feature. And with a benefit, you want to be able to give customers a reason to come back, right? Whether you're buying it for sales, whether it's just your internal customers, your external customers, you need to be able to explain what you do, the services, and be able to impress to those people in your lives the benefit of them dealing with you. So let's break down that really quick. Feature versus a benefit. And this is something that some people tend to get confused on, right? So a feature example, I like using this in my technology and the phone. Everybody has a phone. So let's use this example right here. When we think of a feature, the feature story would be our new smartphone has a battery life of 48 hours on a single charge. Okay, we know that. That's a feature. We know that I will now be able to have this battery for 48 hours without it dying. Okay, great. The flip side of that is, what is the benefit? The benefit sounds more of with the 48-hour battery life, you can go through your busy day and night without worrying about finding a charger, staying connected and productive no matter where you are. Do we see the difference? I'm gonna look at my phone again so I can see these head nods. Do we see the difference in what that feature means and versus the benefit? I'm giving actionable items and descriptions of what I'm able, how I'm able, what this object is able to do to help benefit you versus just providing the generic feature that everybody has. So my question to you now is, what is the benefit of knowing you? You might not be able to answer that yet, right? But I'm hoping that as we take this journey throughout the workshop, that you are able to then answer what is the benefit of knowing you. I would like to piece apart, because you all know Dr. Gabrielle and you know her in a leadership role as well. Would someone chime in and say, what would be the benefit of knowing a Dr. G, knowing the Dr. Gabrielle? And
Well,
anybody can answer.
she's very resourceful.
Mm.
And both she and I are Apple users, and I'm sure there are others. But if I have a challenge with my Apple, I can always call her, and she'll probably say, "Okay, then I need to get up to speed and training on my Apple," but she'll be able to respond to all of my Apple questions.
And I love that you said that, and why you said that was saying that in response to Apple questions, you used her as a resource. And so for you, that benefit is she becomes a resource in a different realm that might not always be used. And thinking of that in mind, that takes us to what our L is all about. Our L is about leveraging, right? The L stands for leveraging. And the leveraging involves utilizing individual strengths and resources to maximize the collective impact. And you're doing just that when you say the benefit of Dr. G is being able to help me with some Apple things. I'm leveraging my friends in my circle that can help me. I think back to being back on that plane. So while on that plane, right, for me, leveraging at that time came when we were all pushing at the back of the door. However, once we saw that our leveraging did not work, we all went our own ways. And that's crazy, because that's kind of how it works in life, right? Sometimes once we see that a leverage or a partner doesn't work, we just tend to let it go. And we'll dive into that a little bit more about how we can better tackle that versus just letting it go. I have another example about a toolbox, right? In a toolbox, it's filled with a variety of tools, and each of those tools has a unique purpose and a unique strength. So when we're faced with these challenges, you go into that toolbox and you carefully select the right tool for your arsenal to tackle it effectively, right? We know some tools you might be able to use a separate tool to hammer. You might be able to use a separate tool to pull a nail out, right? But there are still tools in that toolbox that are designed specifically to hammer, specifically to pull a tool out, specifically to tighten. It makes me think about in our relationships with other people and our internal and external partnerships that we have, and how we need to be able to leverage them correctly. Sometimes a person, if you're managing of a team, right, or you're just dealing with your colleagues, sometimes that person has some skill sets that are good for one thing, but not the other. Sometimes a person has a little bit of a skill set, right, and then they try to implement it into bigger opportunities, and that doesn't always work out. And this is why understanding what your partner is, understanding what that resource is, understanding who that person is, helps to better understand how leveraging comes into place. This is why it's so important when we think of leveraging and what that entails as a partner, we understand what that person does. We have to think beyond the immediate gains. We have to think about nurturing the relationships and not just, here's my business card, I know that you do this, right? Let me go a little bit deeper to find out exactly what that means. And maybe it doesn't benefit me right now, but maybe 6 months from now, I can use it as a referral, that willingness to refer. Or maybe 2 years from now, I can use that because so-and-so called me and needed to have this as a referral. So as we explore and dive a little bit more into the plug, the PLUG, we see so far how the partner and the leveraging work hand in hand. But at the end of the day, that partner and leveraging is not about self. It's about being able to say, how can this ultimately grow me, grow my business, and take me to the next level that I need to be? That leads us to the U, which is the ultimate. So when I think about the ultimate partnerships, these partnerships are built on, like we mentioned earlier, that foundation of trust, respect, and ongoing investments, that credibility, that reliability, that willingness to refer. When it comes to partner leverage for ultimate growth, we really want to ensure that we are ultimately aligning our efforts and values. And so many times, and you all see this in the industry that you work in, those efforts and values aren't always aligned. Questions you want to ask yourself: what are my values? What are the efforts, the time that I want to put into something? Even culturally speaking, the companies that you work for, the businesses that you may maintain and own, right? What are your values? What is your mission? Are you ultimately wanting to not just grow yourself? Because in the reality is, if you're growing other people, you're going to ultimately still grow yourself. I think about with partner leverage, what sets true leaders and true partners apart is that they're about solving the problem, right? Like Dr. G mentioned earlier, that power of collaboration, being the problem solver. And sometimes you might not be able to solve the problem itself, but you might have someone on your team, or you might know a friend, or you might know a doctor, a Colleen, who might be able to help you solve that problem. And that's where that partnership comes into place. Think about how with true partnerships, you're really able to unlock your real potential and cultivate genuine growth, not only internally, but externally amongst the team that you work with. When you have that true partnership, you'll be able to ultimately, once again, showcase your knowledge. You can showcase your skills. You can showcase your expertise because you've already built that rapport with someone. You've already built that credibility with someone. You've already shown them that you can be reliable. And in return, they're going to either willingly refer, or you be willing to refer to what's next from there. Now, I want to pull this up really quick and just read a little bit of this. So if you see me look down, but this is important right here. When I think about ultimate is the pivotal stage where partnerships unlock their full potential and cultivate growth. Now, back to the plane again. On that plane, I had a partner, and not romantically, but he and his client, they hired me to be their publicist. And while we were on this trip, we had an amazing time. We were using full partner leverage. We were growing together. We were networking, going to all these record labels and really working hand in hand, right? However, when that back door of that plane did not open, our partnership was no more. It was everybody for themselves. So he went one way, I went the other. And all the way one way and the other, he ended up on the left side of the plane, and their rescue took them to New Jersey. I ended up on the right side of the plane, and my rescue took me to LaGuardia inside of New York. So while this is going on, once we eventually got back reunited, there was a time where we had to have that come to Jesus moment, that aha moment, and really communicate on what happened, right? Because we didn't see eye to eye during that moment of every person for themselves. And that was okay. But once we got back united, we had to figure out, how does this not occur again, right? What the goal was, yes, to get out of the plane, but the goal was also, we're a team, or we should be a team. So that way we're not leaving anybody behind. Successful partnerships, the ultimate goal is focused on that solution and also being able to help everyone collectively together, not separately or individually. My partner and I, we laugh now about it, just because of the journey that we took, but just to know how we didn't see eye to eye and were able to separate so easily lets us know that even in the corporate world, your professional world, your personal world, your parenting world, your everyday friend world, there are going to be times when you guys don't see eye to eye. There's going to be times when one person's doing another solution, solving another problem, the other person solving the complete opposite, right? But that's okay, because when you communicate effectively, and you are able to come back together, you are able to be peaceable and see the partner leverage for ultimate growth later on down the line. True partners, and I want to restate this again, are focused on the solution. All of you in these leadership roles right now should be focused on the solutions. And each of you, just from listening to the introduction of who you all are, each of you bring different perspectives to the table. Each of you have different values. Each of you have different goals and challenges, but that's what makes a good partner, right? Because when we can communicate those different values, those different challenges, those different goals, we're able to foster a stronger growth, a stronger partnership. We're able to leverage each other in the best way possible, because I know those strengths, I know those challenges that you experience. And ultimately, once I know those, then I'm able to better help grow. And not only grow you, but grow myself along the process. So G, as you see on the screen, is for growth. And that first point, growth is the ultimate objective in partnerships and networking efforts. Not just what I can get for this, but how am I going to grow from this? How is this person going to grow from this that I might be mentoring, or that I might be taking under my wing? When you're effectively leveraging these partner leads, whether it's internal, external, personal, professional, you're going to start to see the growth. And it might be a little bit, or it might be a large bit, right? It might be only recognizable to yourself, or it might be recognizable to the outside world and not to you yet. And that's okay, because that's what growth is all about. Thinking of your positions where you are in your careers right now, I always want to emphasize that when we think of leadership and partner leverage for ultimate growth, a true partner is going to be a sought after resource that can facilitate connections, and that the connections that they facilitate will allow for more growth for that person, which in turn allow more growth for the inner person, yourself, your business, your organization, whatever the case may be. I also think about how with effective partner leverage, it's going to open up the doors. And you see in the last picture right there, it opens up the doors for new opportunities, expanding and growing your book of business. And I say group of business because a lot of times I'm speaking to employers and them not understanding that, hey, it doesn't have to be crabs in a barrel. Hey, just because you might be in the same industry, we still do two different things, and we still have two different values and missions, and can still incorporate and mesh in the same world without it being so competitive. You can still be a partner for me, because guess what? If my load is too heavy right now, I should be, as an employer, be okay referring you to another employer, or be okay referring you to another consultant, or be okay referring you to another person that's still going to give you that good results and the good information and practices that you need. I think about whether it's internal or externally. Effective communication at the end of the day is one of the biggest things, and one of the most important factors when it comes to using partner leverage for ultimate growth. That effective communication is going to allow us to build stronger relationships based on trust. And there's that word again, trust, right? Because we've been saying this whole presentation, being able to be credible, being able to trust the people that you're working with. And that goes internally and externally with the people that I'm dealing with. We also want to focus with that partner leverage for ultimate growth on active listening, right? If I don't know what you do, how can I refer someone to you? Am I actively listening to understand what this position entails or what your department entails? How can I address your pain points of any matter if I don't understand what those pain points are? I might not empathize with them, or I might not align with them all the way, but because I know and I'm actively listening, I can help come up with the problem, the solution, to be able to fix those pain points. I don't believe all the time in like the expectations of things, right? What is the reality of it? And the reality of it is, if you're leading truthfully, credibly, willingness to refer, you will be able to have a mutually beneficial outcome. Not like one that I had in the past where I was only worried about self and I was only looking for ways to benefit myself. But now the partnerships that I'm developing are about, how can I benefit you? I take myself out of the equation, because at the end of the day, I'm going to grow. And I know at the end of the day, whoever I refer to, whomever, they're going to be like, Reenee referred me, or reach out to Reenee because she knows somebody who knows somebody that knows somebody that can get you what you need. That, you guys, is what partner leverage is all about. When it comes to becoming the plug and using partner leverage for ultimate growth, a key word, and this word came to me when I was speaking out at another community event, came to me of, how do we become the catalyst for change? How do we become a catalyst for progression? How do we become a catalyst for driving growth, not only for ourselves, but most importantly for those that we assist, right? And that can be, once again, internally at these organizations that you work at. Yes, we all want that promotion, but maybe that might not be the best fit for us. Maybe we have other journeys and other realms that we need to pursue in order to best utilize that partner leverage for ultimate internal growth versus external growth. Make sense? See some heads shaking. Yes, yes. So back to my original question of, what is your purpose, right? Sometimes our partners are going to soar and they're going to be reaching new heights. Other times, me included, we're just going to be gliding. Seems like we're gliding with ease, but we're in a downward turn right now. And sometimes we may face some challenges with our partners, internally, externally, ourselves, where we just have to make an emergency landing in the Hudson River. But even with that landing, who in your life is able to be that safety net? who in your life will be there to come to the rescue? Maybe you don't have them off the top of your head. Maybe it's someone who you don't always speak to. But those are the people, because of that partner leverage, those connections, those relationships that you built, will be there for you in moments like this. So I want to circle back around to, what is your purpose? I'd be curious to hear from someone, what is your purpose? And it can be professional, it can be personal, but I want to just open it up for, what is your purpose?
I have something.
Yes.
My purpose is helping other people find their purpose.
Ooh, that's a good one. And you do that so well. That's why we're all very happy that we know you. But anybody else like to chime in? What is your purpose? And it's okay for still finding your purpose.
Well, as I say, you know, I always say my children or my family, but I also spend an awful lot of time at work, and, you know, building partners and community that support each other, I think is really important to me as well.
I like that. And I love that you chose your family, because a lot of times in this world that we live in, we forget the family. We're so busy working and doing life, and we neglect what that family looks like, and that being a purpose. Or people don't understand that family is part of your purpose, being a mother, being a spouse. Would anybody else like to chime in what their purpose is, professional, personable? Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys that did share. And I just want to say this, right? When we think about our purpose, partner leverage from ultimate growth really becomes the key. And when we talk about the challenge that each and every one of us face, and how we have to implement those strategies of using partner leverage for ultimate growth. At the end of the day, as you are striving to figure out what your purpose in life is, focus on your benefits, not just your feature. I.e., yes, you're a mother, but you're more than just a mother, right? You're a warrior. You're someone who is strong-willed. You're someone who's there to be reliable, because you're reliable and your kids know that they can depend on you. You're credible because your kids know that if you say something, we know that it's probably going to be truth. And we know the willingness to refer is there even from the motherhood, because if you can't help them, I'm guarantee you're probably going to loop somebody else in that's able to help them with the problem that they're dealing with. When we think of partner leverage with the ultimate growth, you guys, I want you to focus on moving beyond surface level interactions. Once again, it's okay if you don't speak every day. It's okay if you don't speak once a month. You might not go 2 years without speaking with that person, but because you've developed that relationship, that partnership with them, it doesn't matter how long it takes that you reach out to them. They're still going to be able to be that asset that you need. And the perfect case in point is my relationship with Dr. G, how I don't always consistently speak with her, but when I do, I know that I've developed a relationship, a partnership with her, and I can call on her whenever I need. So now let's talk about my purpose. For me, my purpose was being on flight 1549. My purpose was to be on that plane. I have a testimony for life, and professionally now, my purpose is to help all of you brace for impact and connect you with that safety, that ferry that was ready to pull you up out the Hudson River when you were in need. You see in this slideshow right here, I've got 3 very distinct pictures with one common goal. That common goal is helping. So the first picture on the top left corner, it is me helping my clients working in the music industry. I'm helping my clients as their on-site publicists, their day-to-day relationships, event coordinating, helping specifically those clients. The second picture, which is going to always be one of my favorite, is helping fellow passengers on that plane. This picture was the last picture my phone took before it died, and it was no more. And I was actually on the ferry with the Hudson River and the plane crash right behind me. I think about this picture because that moment I was helping my client, helping my fellow passengers, right? I was praying for them. I was letting them know, even though I didn't really know myself, I was letting them know that things were going to be okay, because spiritually, I knew that it would, no matter what the outcome was going to be. And the third picture last year was taken 2024 in January. This third picture was me helping my community. This is me receiving the recognition for the Greater Tallahassee Chamber of Commerce Chamber Ambassador of the Year. Here I am, soaring with a purpose, not only professionally, but personally, internally, externally. I've learned, and I'm still learning right now, that no matter what happens in the past, or really whatever happens in the past, at some point you just have to make peace with it, right? I'm also learning that I can't predict the future. You can't predict the future, but we can prepare for it. I think about something that's resonated with me for the past few months now. I was at a luncheon, and Daryl Jones, who is with the Office of Economic Vitality, and Mayor John Daley were both there, and they were speaking. And one thing that they both collectively were saying and kind of feeding off each other was that it's not about who you know. It's not about what you know. It's not even about who knows you. What it's about, though, is who thinks about you when you're not in the room. Who thinks about you when you're not in the room? And I'm thankful that Dr. G consistently thinks about me when I'm not in the room, because I'm always thinking about her when she's not in the room. That is what partner leverage is all about. So, as I close today, my challenge, my action item to all of you is to think of me, Reenee Williams-Walter, the plug, and how I utilize partner leverage for ultimate growth, PLUG. I dot the I's, I cross the T's, I connect each and every one of you to the resources that you did and did not know that you need. And after today, I am looking forward to soaring so high, and of course with purpose, with each and every one of you along this journey. So thank you so much for allowing me to share my purpose. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. And I really encourage you to find new ways to utilize partner leverage for ultimate growth. Because at the end of the day, your success is only as great as those around you. Thank you guys so much. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I would love to share and get some feedback.
Before the questions, let's all unmute yourself, give her a round of applause. Reenee Williams-Walter, you are awesome. Anyone have some questions for Reenee? Tammy typed in the chat box, just so you know. She typed, I definitely will think of you, Reenee.
Ah, thank you. Okay, good.
So sweet and so true. I'd love to hear from other people.
No questions. And normally I do this as from employer standpoint.
Colleen's got something?
Yes, go ahead.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much for speaking tonight. My question for you is this, and this is something from an event planner's perspective that I always try to search for, and maybe in the moment there is no right answer, but how did you remain calm under pressure? Because I know as an event person, and I put on events for hundreds and thousands of people, and if something goes wrong, people will look to you for direction and guidance. And you have to have a commanding presence and voice and calmness. How do you, since you've experienced literally life and death situation, how do you channel that into a very constructive manner where people will listen to you? Because I know you said there's, every man for himself, but I'm sure there was some kind of calmness that you exuded that other people felt.
Yeah, no, this was, and I not to go on the soapbox for religion or anything, but for me personally, Jehovah God, 1,000%. I was not supposed to be on the plane originally, but I was supposed to be on the plane. That was not even my original flight. Full disclosure. I wanted to, the client I was with, we wanted to stay in a couple of hours in New York. During the process of them finding us a new flight, the lady was like, we're already boarding, so you're going to get to go on this flight instead. And she had us separated on 2 separate flights. And he's like, no, my client's going to flip out if I separate us. We got to be together. I just don't want any issues to happen. And so the last 2 seats randomly opened up while we were sitting at the counter. But I will say this, you have to really channel what your inner peace is, right? For me, that is Jehovah. And for me, I go to him to prayer, even with us, not being in person and then being on a Zoom setup. And I'm frantically behind scenes striving to figure out, how am I going to do my setup? Where's my screen going to go? Do I have 2 of my screens? Is my camera working okay? And I stopped and prayed. My husband literally came over, let's say a prayer real quick. Let's regroup. and find that piece. Sometimes for event coordinators, right? I've done it before, and from hip hop awards to Soul Train awards to just red carpet events, right? Deion Sanders events. It's about you are there to take the load off for your client, and you channel that. So sometimes it might be, I need to walk outside really quick. I need to walk over in this room really quick and okay, regroup. I got this, because that's what you're getting paid for, right? You're getting paid to take on all those burdens. I love being able to be a day of event coordinator. And I always stress day of event or wedding coordinator, because I might not want to I have other stuff going on in my life. So it's a lot sometimes to like, let me do the planning. So when it comes to like weddings, if someone's like, hey, Reenee, can you do our day of event coordinating for the wedding? Yes, because your day is going to go flawless. Even if there's craziness and a fire in the back, all of that needs to come to me, and I'm going to take that, channel it, and that drives me to make a better event. That adrenaline is what I'm getting to be able to keep the composure. Even my armpits are sweating, I'm running around like crazy. I'm going to always have a smile on, because that's what fuels me. And you'll find when you are doing something that you love and you enjoy, that's going to be your momentum to keep going, even when you have those hiccups, because life is crazy. Satan is real. It's just a lot of negative things that can really steer you in the wrong direction. But when you dwell on that negativity, it's going to bring everything down, from your events, your persona, those around you. We're human, right? So of course we're going to be in that funk for a second. But it's about, what do I need to do to get out of this? Maybe I need to sing. Maybe I need to go, chew some gum. Maybe I need to walk outside. Maybe I just need to go get exercise. Find that outlet to be able to, when you have those moments, I'm going to go. Some people like fidget spinners, whatever the case may be. But harness that, tune into that. Like I said, for me, it's always going to be Jehovah God, and I am able to maneuver how I need to, even in those times of frantic, because I know that at the end of the day, I'm covered, I'm protected. Like there's nothing too hard for me to do, and if I know I can't do it, I'm going to have people in my life that can help give me guidance. Know, hey, I'm dealing with this little issue right here. What do you think? What are some suggestions to make this smooth out a little bit? Okay, cool. Yeah, I like that. I probably won't use all of that, but I'm going to make a little bit of my own, and I'll combine it, and we're going to make this work. So let's go. Hopefully that answered it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments at all? Or nope, you guys are pretty easy. I like this. So hopefully you guys are able to take something out of this. And like I said, I'm just very appreciative, and I love just being able to share my story now, and people to know you've got a person flight 1549. Are you guys familiar with that flight? Yes. Okay, good. So yeah, you met a passenger from it now, and you see that they're still thriving. I still fly. And, some people are like, you still fly? I'm like, yeah, because that at the time working in the music industry, I'm flying to Cali, New Orleans, Texas. I have to. And that's where my faith once again came in, right? I can't let this be a setback. And sometimes people do, which is why it's so important to know who you are. And even if you don't know who you are all the way, know partially of who you want to be. So even if I'm not that person yet, but this is who I want to be, I'm going to continue the steps and the journey it takes till I become that person. Fake it till you make it. And in my mind, this is who I am.
Reenee Williams-Walter, you are a phenomenal human being. And I am so honored to know you. I'm so honored to be part of your growth journey. And you did not disappoint with the message you sent us today. And I just want to thank you for being not just someone who inspires other people, but someone who shows other people that anything is possible and that
Thank you so much.
happen, and
thank you so much.
Yeah, and you are a miracle, and I'm so grateful you're in my life, and I think of you all the time. So,
And like literally, I don't know if you've taken her leadership course, Dr. G's leadership course at all. I highly recommend it. Have your jobs pay for it. Get in there, because she saw me at a point in life when, yes, I was doing well, but I was not focused on me, right? I'm so busy working 80 hours a week, managing a gym, trying to make sure my gym becomes number one, working like a 1.2 million renovation for my gym. Even with attending her workshops and leadership academy, I'm missing it because I'm like, oh, I'm at work still, Dr. D. And my gym was around the corner from her office, and I'm still just like so enswamped in this. So make sure that you guys take time for self, because at the end of the day, I will never forget this. One of my regional managers told me, and he had a confidential moment, not speaking of me, but just in general. He's like, everybody's replaceable. We work for these jobs and we work for these companies. And at the end of the day, you are still replaceable. And after we're long gone, they're going to have somebody, they're going to might cry or be sad, send some flowers to the family, but your job will probably be filled the next week or a couple weeks from there. So take your time off, take your PTO. This is the pot calling the kettle black now, but
Yeah.
I'm getting better at it. But
Self-care,
utilize that
self-care, right?
time to just to debrief and to take a break and to take a moment, have a mental health day. Like I don't need this right now. I just need to take a breather and go on about my day. I'm clocking out for 20 minutes or however long I need, and I'll come back and get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, I had my leadership academy yesterday, and somebody actually said that people are replaceable and that they have personally seen that before the obituary was published, the job announcement was published. I'm serious. So,
And they were probably there a while too. That's the sad part in reality.
yeah.
But people are going to be people, you guys.
Yeah, I know. So, but you know, part of one reason I love that we connected is that I think I helped you realize that you were on a different path than you needed to be. And I
Yeah.
think you found your path, you found your calling, and you know, I'm so proud of you, Reenee. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for all the great things that are happening in your life. And I know that there's more to come. And I actually sense a really big shift in your life this year. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will leave with this. Like she mentioned, I am at Career Source Capital Region. If any of you guys have any open positions, I'm working right now with some employers that are laying off. We just did a rapid response events for Joanne's Fabric. We have another event coming up with TPCA, that Tallahassee Primary Care Associates. There's 7 people with admin, HR, coding, billing specialist backgrounds that are in need of work. And then also with CSG out in Crawfordville, the warehouse and print moving. These are also people who are also without work. So I will be working with them hand in hand. If any of you have open positions, please let me know. I'd love to be able to share some of those resources with them. And if you know of any people who are being laid off, any businesses that are being closed, please let me know as well, because that's my job as a rapid response coordinator, to get them back rapidly deployed, to get them back to the resources that they need, so that way they can get their life back in order and back structured.
Thank you, Reenee.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
one final round of applause for our speaker, Reenee Williams-Walter. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I put in the chat box, but anyone who would like CEU credit for tonight or any other sessions for our chapter, please email your name to janet.roach@visittallahassee.com. Tammy did it during the meeting. And Janet will provide a certificate, as well as she'll send your names to National and make sure you get those CEU credits, including for tonight. So Reenee, thank you for giving us not just education, but inspiration. And I am so grateful for the miracle that happened on the Hudson River. And I have no doubt that your presence was a big part of how people ended up surviving. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank y'all so much for being here and just allow me to share and speak. So y'all have an amazing day.
Thank you. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
Good
Thanks so
night.
much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Bye-bye.
y'all. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.